Back with a Sala Takeover, powered by Millennium TV. The main man, Rubio, back at it again, alongside my brother, Willie Will. Willie Will, holla at the people, man.
What's up, my brother? What's up, my brother? Good to see you again.
Same here,
yes,
brother,
sir.
man. Look, everything's looking good, man. People getting vaccinated, vaccinations being distributed out.
Yeah.
But as reports to USA Today, man, people are still getting infected by the coronavirus regardless of the vaccines. 5,800 new cases have been reported to the CDC of people who have contracted the COVID-19 virus. Despite getting the vaccine, bro, what's going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, the vaccine, again, just to be clear, is supposed to be a deterrent from you getting sick and getting hospitalized. The main thing I think of the vaccines and what they're trying to accomplish is herd immunity. So what they want is for so many people to eventually have the vaccine, be vaccinated, so that now we're not passing the vaccine, the COVID-19 back and forth to each other.
We're playing hot potato with it, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Which is basically why we continue to reiterate wearing a mask and
social distancing,
that, because that's what it is basically. And everybody's just like, "Hey, what's up?" Give you a high five. Oh, COVID to COVID. But again,
give me a high five, right?
Yeah, right. That's been reported a lot now that people, even after being vaccinated, are still getting a second go around that getting the COVID-19 virus. Again, it's not that you're immune after you have the virus. It's not that it's you can't get it. The fact is that it's just a way to get everybody in the same page as far as health-wise.
Now, fill me in. What is this herd immunity that you mentioned? I did hear you mention it. I did see a slight report on it about Texas possibly trying out this herd immunity.
Well, with the Texas situation is that they're hoping that if enough people are together like sardines in a place, herd immunity is this. Let me go back a little bit. Herd immunity is basically the fact that your body creates the antibodies to the COVID-19 test. Just like when you get the flu and you already had the flu and you're like, okay, so now I had it, I'm good. Maybe you get your flu shot and that's going to protect you against getting sick again or getting sicker if you do get the flu again.
Gotcha.
So herd immunity is basically everybody getting the antibodies to a point where we're not again passing the vaccine back and forth. You know what I mean? So, but
to the point where everybody's together to the point where it'll build up, the body will build up its own immune system to defend against the COVID-19.
And the herd immunity is where everybody or most of the people around you have built up that immunity to the vaccine so that we're not continuously battling and getting.
Has this worked before? Do we know?
It has worked before. If you want me, I'll get you details next time as to what instances it's worked before. But there have been other, I don't want to call it other pandemics or other situations where they have proven that herd immunity has helped within villages and towns.
Yeah. So it has worked before, possibly. But it probably not to. Well, it has worked before, but we don't know if it's going to work with COVID-19 because, like I said, there's a new variation of it, of course.
It's a hope. It's a how does Dr. Fauci call it? His famous words.
It's a long shot. That's what I would call it.
With optimism, but he calls it something else. Anyways, it's it's like when you're optimistic, but you're being very careful about how optimistic and how true these facts are.
Gotcha. Well, listen, talking about Dr. Fauci also stated on with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, actually gave 6 women an adverse reaction, aka blood clots. What do you think about this, man? What do you think it really does to the credibility of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines?
It doesn't help any of the credibility to any of the vaccines, I think, at this point. You know what I mean? Because they keep pushing to us. I've seen in commercials and things like that where they're saying that they've gone through the rigorous tests and this, that, and the other of the vaccine. Right. So at this point, Dr. Fauci was interviewed by CBS News, and basically what he wanted to bring down the heat a little bit, I believe, with the whole narrative of it's a vaccine safe. So what he was saying was that the blood clots that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine are causing, basically in women at this point, because it's been 6 women that have had this issue, happened 1 in 1 million people. So basically, it's not like it's a big threat to humans. You know what the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
I mean, listen, it might not be a big threat, but the people, like you said, man, the credibility of the company definitely is going to take a big hit, and the reliability of the vaccines is. There's already a lot of skepticism around the vaccines.
Exactly.
You have a lot of people who don't want to take it because they don't believe in the vaccines or they feel like it's a government implant. This is definitely not going to help that case.
Doesn't that remind you when you was in the train, when you were a kid, and you had that guy with the pamphlet, and they gave you the pamphlet, and it said, they said, you know, Jesus is coming, and they're gonna put a chip inside of you so that they can control you, so that they know who's, you know, that's people. You know how people are, man. People are gonna come up with all these ideas. But basically, as far as what Dr. Fauci was saying, if you got the vaccine 2-3 months ago, no worries, because when you get sick or when this event happens, it happens within 6 to 13 days after getting the vaccine. So really, whoever got the vaccine 2 weeks ago should be should be careful and should be aware, you know, if they get chest pains, severe headaches, difficult breathing. But besides that, it really isn't causing like a large, you know, outburst of blood clot disease or something.
Well, let's see where it continues. I mean, they're still going to continue distributing the Pfizer and the Moderna ones. The vaccines that are actually losing credibility due to this whole situation is Johnson & Johnson and the AstraZeneca.
Right, which we don't even get in this country yet.
Well, AstraZeneca we don't, but we do get the Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, of course. But I think the main thing is that it affected the amount of vaccines that the states got. You know, like we touched on this before in our previous podcast. So technically, you know, when they were supposed to receive several million, now they're getting 100,000, 200,000
reduced amounts.
Yeah, so that might slow down the process of getting everybody vaccinated, but I don't think it's going to affect the flow and what the vaccine is doing. But I think but we need to touch up on the latest reports about possibly getting a booster vaccine and having to get it every year. But I think we can touch on that in the next segment or in another show if you want.
Well, listen, man, we'll see where this leads to, man. Like I said, man, Johnson & Johnson is definitely not looking good here. Anytime something like this gets thrown up in the mix, people are always going to have their doubts, man. Especially even if they say, oh, yeah, we got all the kinks out, people are still going to have their doubts. I know people are hurrying back to get back to 100%, but it's still a timely process. But
it's sensitive. It's a sensitive process. Absolutely.
Definitely is, man. With that, we're going to take a little short commercial break, man. We'll stay right back. We'll be right back. I'll bring you some more content, man.
Cool, man. See you in a bit.
With the Sala Takeover, Power Mama and MTV, main man Rubio, back at it again with my brother Willie Will. What's up, Will? Yo, man, before we went to commercial break, man, you were mentioning a little bit about this possible booster shot that I think Pfizer, you said, was mentioning.
Exactly. So what I was telling you guys we were talking about it in light of what's been happening lately with, you know, people getting reinfected and, you know, people that got the vaccine getting infected and the uptick in the country in some places. So a CNBC report came out where Pfizer CEO the Pfizer CEO now says that there's a possibility that we might also have to include a third shot, a booster shot, after getting the 2 shots, and that it might actually have to become an annual thing. So, I mean, again, remember, the shots are a 6-month process. You know, in other words, their effect is for 6 months.
They're effective for 6 months, and after 6 months, you would have to take another one.
Yeah.
Again.
So what you have to remember.
Hold on. That's including both the Pfizer and Moderna, the ones that are double shots, the 2-shot ones.
Well, see, I don't think they've actually elaborated to people what happens after the second shot. But what we have seen on reports is that it basically has a lifespan of about 6 months where it's being, you know, protecting you. This is where the whole herd immunity and all those other theories are coming in. But if that's not the case, then now, of course, they're talking about there being a possibility of having to get another third shot or an annual shot, kind of like the flu shot.
I mean, listen, and that's the thing.
I mean, you didn't see this coming. You didn't think that it was going to be like that. Come on.
I mean, a lot of people were ready even before they had the vaccine. That's what a lot of people were already predicting, talking about, oh, well, then all of a sudden when they do finally have a vaccine, it's going to become like the flu shot. We have to take it every year.
Right.
I mean, are these the steps that need to be taken for us to get back to somewhat normalcy? Most likely.
Probably.
Are you going to have your people who are very skeptical of all this?
I mean, you have skeptical people that say that does this whole virus situation even really exist? You have people saying we have people saying is this a fake situation created by governments just to keep people under control? Now they're gonna say, are these vaccines a way to chip people to keep to keep an eye on them and to to make sure they know where you're at.
As we discussed, man, listen, if they wanted to find or track you, it's easy as going to social media because half of the time people put their information on there regardless. First of all,
brother. If I'm going on vacation, I post it. If I'm dancing in my house, I put it up on social
But it's
media.
like, my thing is like at the end of the day, is there information the government keeps, hidden away? Of course, you're not going to know the full details. It's all about, there is some control by fear, of course, but it's also them letting what needs to be known as what we need to know.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this, man, it doesn't help the critics and the people who are skeptical when we have this report by this video by 60 Minutes. It was actually a 60 Minutes report.
A 60-minute report, yeah.
About a subdermal implant, which is like a tissue-like gel. Because I made note of that. I'm like, what?
Yeah. So basically, it's like you're putting in a piece of skin, let's say, or something that's soft.
I mean,
under the skin. Yeah, I saw the report. It's kind of cool, I guess, but it's weird.
Well, listen, it's a sensor that detects chemical reactions in your body.
Mm-hmm.
The sailor, because they actually did create this for a Navy battleship. The sailor draws blood. The chemical reactions means that it's possibly, there's possible symptoms. So it's meaning that. If it senses there is a chemical reaction in your body, the sailor would draw blood and they'll get tested because, if there's a chemical reaction, it's because you're probably coming down with symptoms or you're going to get symptoms.
Right. So, so basically the chip is monitoring the chemical reactions in your body.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty cool tech, if you ask me.
Yeah, because basically what it's going to do is that it's going to sense the changes in your body that happen right before you get sick. Right before you feel pain, right before you feel the symptoms. So now it's going to tell you, listen, these reactions are happening in your body.
Correct.
Draw some blood, and then you're going to have the machines, right? They'll test the blood, and then you'll know what's going on. So they're using it on the naval ship because remember months ago when all this was going on, there was a Navy ship that got stuck, and everybody in the ship, got COVID-19, and the sailors couldn't come out of the boat.
Yep.
It's something that can possibly be used in cruise ships. Maybe in those type of situations, wherever you have
I don't think Norwegian Cruise Line is going to give you a free dermal tissue sensor, along with the
but again, with other things, who knows if this becomes something where you can, like you can maybe remember we kind of we touched on this. Maybe this is something that can be used to detect cancer. Maybe this is something that can be used to detect other diseases that we might not see or know that are going on in our bodies, but the reactions are happening. So in a positive note, not only just for this situation, maybe we can use it to, detect, certain aspects.
I mean, listen, I think it'll eventually get to that point. I mean, when stuff like this and tech like this will actually be able to help detect, early signs of, cancer or any type of other, crazy disease.
But then we go back to
deadly disease.
Yeah, we go back to the conspiracy theorists.
Of course,
they're going to say, they're always the devil is alive. They're really coming after us. They're going to chip us and know that.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, listen, man, there are always going to be those people out there who's going to be very skeptical of what's going on in the world and of what the government is trying to give us, or just anything that's too good to be true.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great step going forward, man. I think it's a good way to, especially like you said, on a naval battleship where, it's close quarters. A lot of guys have to work there to keep the ship, working and functioning properly. And, to be out there, protecting us at the end of the day, because that's what they're out there for.
Yeah, so for situations like the military and how you said they're in close quarters, I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
It's something that, you can catch this quick. Imagine if you have an emergency and you got everybody quarantining. What are you going to do? You're going to tell people you can't go, you can't fight, you can't do what you got to do. Let's say in another country where everything is sensitive and where you don't know at what point you're going to have to come out and actually go into battle. And then you have a whole barrack, that has quarantining because of COVID-19. So this might be a good situation to start with that type of situation,
Well, I think it's a good idea. We'll see what we'll continue to hear from this. Maybe this will develop into something better or even more out to the public. But right now it's just for the Navy, Mm-hmm. And we'll go from there. But listen, we're going to take a little short commercial break, man. When we come back, man, we'll have some more content for y'all. Stay tuned.
Yes, sir.
With the Sala Takeover powered by Millennium TV. Your main man Rubio back at it again with my brother Willie. Will, let them know, Will.
Rubio, we're letting them know. Giving you all the information you need to know to make your day right. Let's go.
Listen, we definitely got a whole lot of COVID, trending topics, man, because
it's a lot of topic.
A lot has been going on. People think that just because, like we said, that the vaccines are out there, that things are slightly getting better. There's going to be a lot of restrictions and things implemented as we continue to go forward and, we are being allowed into a lot of public spaces. One thing that I really wanted to bring up so we could touch up on was this vaccine passports they're possibly talking about implementing. What is it? What could it mean for, public venues and, sporting events going forward?
Well, a vaccine passport from what I've read up on it and my understanding is basically just a way for entertainment venues like football games and basketball games and NBA venues to be able to see who's been vaccinated or not, or who has had a negative test within a certain amount of time. I think it changes, depending on what venue you're going to. For example, Madison Square Garden currently uses something called the Excelsior Pass, which you put information into that program or into that stating that you got your vaccines, which is a requirement. You have to have your second shot within a certain amount of time of getting the shot for you to attend the game, as well as a negative test.
So real quick, so with the Excelsior Pass, which New York State is using, once you actually get your shot, they actually how do they update it?
It's like the card. It's like a card, but it's on your phone. So it's a program that they run. So basically, you go in there and you just put in the information. At this point, it isn't.
But that's what I'm saying. Can anybody just put it in there, or the specific vaccine center will actually put the information in your?
I believe it's you got to get the information from the specific vaccine center because, like you said, I could just go in there and put the information myself.
I'm good. I got all the vaccines. Which one you want? Which one you looking for?
Yeah, but imagine that. I'm like, listen, I got it. What do you mean you got it? Look, this test right here.
I got the Pfizer, Moderna, and the Johnson & Johnson if you want to.
I'll be like, yo, Rubio, you have a black pen? You got a black pen? Look, it's already in there. So, but to your first question, the vaccine passport, what they're actually trying to do is implement, I think, more of a universal digital platform to have the information already, on your phones.
Yeah, make it easy. Make it easy so you're not walking around with an actual card, pretty much.
Yeah, but so right now, for example, I remember hearing Governor Cuomo saying that he would like to implement a vaccine passport to come into New York. So that's something that, again, it's not something that's happening. It's something that's being developed. It's an idea, but then there are several companies that are working on this idea. The government has stated that they're not going to be implementing or requiring this system or this for the country. So basically, if it is when and if it is developed, it's going to be up to the individual states, airports, like the private sector.
Yeah.
they're the ones that are going to basically decide whether they want to use this system to let people into their venues or into their airports or into their restaurants. Like we don't even know.
But you did have a good point stating, like, let's say, all right, if they do develop the system, will you be able to use it in New York and then possibly come, let's say, to another state and go to another public venue with that?
Right.
Well,
what the issue, the first issue that they might have is that which is the system that will be used once it's developed? Yeah. Are the systems, will they be able to interchange information? Like, can I go to Wells Fargo Arena and attend a game there after I use the same pass to go to Madison Square Garden and see a Knicks game, for example? Or will I be able to travel to, like, I know for a fact right now, the airports in France or the government in France is going to implement this system in order to come into France. I've heard that Great Britain is looking into it. And I know Israel is definitely using some type of system right now to show the people that have been vaccinated or people that have negative tests. But again, there's a lot of red tape that has to be, gone through in order for this to be implemented. Because then
it's a process, man.
Absolutely. Because what's to say that me as a restaurant owner, now I want to require that you show me that passport in order for me to let you come in and eat in my restaurant. So what happens with people that don't want to use it?
And that's the thing. You're always going to get that kickback of people who are like, nah, I don't.
Of course.
Why should I have to walk around with a vaccine passport? Why should I need to have all my information, personal information of that digitally, so that people can, have access to it, whatever it may be. So
plus you're going to have the people that are going to say, what other information are you going to, just like, let's say the chip, what other information are people going to be able to get from this system? That's the only thing that the government says that they will partake in. And that's the regulation of, like, what kind of information is being put on these digital passports.
Limiting what information is going to be.
Absolutely. They want to make sure that the information that's on here is about COVID-19, about being vaccinated, about having a negative test. Correct. And not where you've gone or how many countries you've gone to, or, that's not the purpose of it. You know what I'm saying? They are going to need to know where you're coming from,
for sure.
We're going to have to know what kind of, vaccinations, what's their vaccination status, or what's their COVID status. Are they on an uptick? Or, so in order to let you in. But that, I think we're maybe far from actually getting the specifics to how this is going to function in day-to-day society.
We'll see how that works, man. Like I said, it's still a work in progress. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's still a system they're trying to implement to try to, keep things contained and safer going forward.
Yeah, exactly.
There's still definitely probably a lot of kinks out, especially that. I think that is going to be very pivotal to this working. Is the interconnection of all the systems, because if not, it's going to be a real pain when traveling, sporting events.
Can you imagine going to the Dominican Republic, my brother?
Yeah, there's going to be a problem, man.
Can you imagine going to DR and you got to show this digital passport, and then they're telling you, yo no sé. What is this?
Hey, no, papi, this don't work here.
No, papi, vaccine not good in the country, papi. What do you want me to tell you? You cannot come here to the beach with this passport, papi. You got to have the other passport.
Man. Well, let's see how that goes, man. Hopefully they get it worked out, man. But
I don't know, papi. I don't know. It's difficult, papi. It's not good.
We're going to take a little short commercial break, man. Listen, y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back, man.
I'll be back in a little bit, papi.
I'll be back in a little bit.
I'm going to get my passport first, okay? I see you people later.
All right, bro. Back with the Sala Takeover, powered by Millennium TV. The main man, Rubio, back alongside my brother, Willie Will. Man, we got a little story for the people, man. Bobby Brown hit up the Red Table. So the Red Table Talk, which is a show by Jada Pinkett Smith and her mom and her daughter, which is aired, I think, on Facebook Watch, has been a platform where people and artists and celebrities have been able to go on there, and they kind of almost like a therapy session for them, say they go they get interviewed. and they talk about their experiences, this and that. So Bobby Brown was on there recently, where he actually sat down with the ladies and talked about his history with drug abuse, his marriage with Whitney Houston. Talks about the death of his 2 kids, man. And what do you think? What do you think, man? I know it's rough, and I know Bobby Brown's been through a lot, man.
I recently saw it, man. I saw the whole thing, and it was it's eye-opening, especially, I have children as well. I have adult children, I have teenage children also. But man, I can only imagine how difficult and how rough it is for a mother to lose a parent, just to lose their child. And in that manner. Definitely, I think the main topic or the main, engine that they were using on for their session was how do you stop generational trauma? And he went into it, and he spoke about how when he was a child, he saw abuse and drug use and death, as a child in his household. And from, we all followed, the story of Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston and how, he was actually blamed for starting Whitney Houston on drugs, and which wasn't the case. Which
I'm not going to lie. I'll be honest with you. I was one of the people, I didn't know Whitney Houston's back history. I was one of the people who actually believed that, that once they got together, he was the one who introduced her to the drugs.
Quickly go back to an interview. I'm going to say about 2003, 2004, Oprah interviewed Whitney's brother and mother. So the person that actually introduced Whitney Houston to cocaine was her brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Bobby Brown actually stated that, he dabbled, he smoked, a little marijuana, whatever it was when he was younger. But he stated how the first time he saw Whitney Houston use cocaine was the day they got married. So I can only imagine.
Apparently she was celebrating. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, they celebrated a lot from what we saw in their TV show. What was the name of the TV show?
Being
Bobby Brown, right, and all that. So, it's well documented that they were having issues. Oprah even interviewed Whitney Houston afterwards. But the main thing is the children.
Facts, man.
They interviewed him on this show 5 months after they found his son, Bobby Jr., dead. He was found by his girlfriend in the bedroom, and they stated that they found a combination of cocaine, fentanyl, and alcohol.
How old was his son, actually?
30 years old. His son was 30 years old when he passed away, yeah. And Bobby Brown definitely talks about how the relationship that him and Whitney Houston had played a huge role. And not only on the death of his son, but remember, 4 years after Whitney Houston died, his daughter passed away eerily in the same manner that Whitney Houston died. They found her in a bathtub as well, face down in a bathtub with the same things in her system, fentanyl, cocaine.
Was that how they found Whitney Houston? Was it in the bathtub also?
She was found in a hotel room of the Hard Rock Cafe. I actually saw a TV show, I don't remember the name of it, where it's like a cold case where it's a show about the autopsies.
Okay.
And they spoke about what was all the causes. Like she had so much cocaine in her system that apparently she turned on the hot water, and the hot water, when she stepped into it, shocked her system and froze her. So the reaction of the heat in her body and the cocaine that she was ingesting put her into shock, and she keeled over. It froze her. Yeah, it was.
That's crazy, man.
Look it up. I'll look it up and I'll let you know exactly where you can find this.
I'm gonna have to definitely look into that, man. That's definitely,
they went into detail.
I mean, that's insane. How hot was the water, man?
Yeah, exactly. So so the point is that the water had to be at a temperature where, she might have turned it on and been so, you remember how Whitney Houston was. She was all over the place.
Yep.
She was probably so out of it at that point that she didn't regulate it or whatever the case may be, and it just turned out to come out as scalding hot water.
Yeah.
But besides that, he went into his support system that currently is his wife. That they do a lot of therapy.
So he did. He remarried after.
Yeah, he remarried, and he has several other kids from his his current wife.
Oh, really?
I know her last name is Etheridge, Melissa Etheridge. I think
that's another singer.
Anyway, so we're giving you the facts here on the Sala Takeover. Don't quote us though. So basically, his current wife. The cool thing about it is that they brought her out. And they touched into how sometimes a person is good inside, but they have these issues. Yeah. And she stuck by him throughout the issues, and she basically little by little helped him through getting sober, through now he's sober from alcohol because he's 19 years sober from narcotics. But he just
which is crazy because you would think that, you wouldn't think that, being that, it felt not long ago that he was still dealing with those demons alongside Whitney Houston. You know what I'm saying? So
it wasn't Whitney Houston. I mean, they were already separated in 2013 when she passed away. So it hasn't really been that.
Oh, wow.
We're looking at 7 years since her passing.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I guess so.
8 years. It's been a while. So, but you can. So he started speaking about. He continued using alcohol, but then his body was shutting down from the alcohol. I guess all the abuse that he took and all the abuse that he put his body through. When he would drink, he would lose bodily functions. He specifically spoke about going to the bathroom on himself, and he was like, how am I gonna raise my my younger children when I can't even control my bodily functions? And his kids were looking at him like, what's going on, Dad? So then he spoke about, that he has a therapist, his wife has a therapist, they have a family therapist, and this has helped him and the family heal and show the younger kids, specifically his 11-year-old son. He has an 11-year-old son that and Bobby Jr. was like, his big brother. He was the one that he played games with and all that. So they went into a little bit of details as to they sat the kid down. They spoke to him. They let him speak. How do you feel about what happened to your brother? Do you know what happened to your brother?
I mean, listen, I'm glad for Bobby Brown, man, that being able to open up and keep himself clean is definitely is breaking the chains of his generation. That's been passed on from generation to generation, man. So it's definitely a good thing for him. I'm definitely gonna, if you haven't seen it, maybe make sure y'all should check it out.
Check it out, man.
It's on the Red Table Talk with Jada Pickett on there. Bobby Brown. Interview. Yeah, but listen, we're gonna have to take a little short commercial break, man. When we come back, we're gonna have to smoke some more content for y'all. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Don't change that dial.
With the Sala Takeover powered by Millennium TV. Your main man, Rubio, back at it again with my brother, Willie Will. Willie Will, let the people know, man, what we got coming right now, man.
We're going to touch on a sensitive subject, basically the recent racial unrest that the country is going through right now.
It seems it's a lot. It's a lot.
We can probably do a few shows on this situation right now. We're going to try to give you as much information as we can in the short time that we have. But basically, we've all watched in the last couple of weeks or the last week, 2 or 3 or 4 situations where police have shot, killed and injured or whatever the case may be, several black men and even people, just in the street walking, having issues. In spite of the fact that the George Floyd murder trial is currently going on, it's within like the last few days of the trial. So there was already a little bit of.
It's just crazy how everything is right around the trial. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, this has been occurring for years. We know.
Yeah, absolutely. But now with all the social media platforms, like we said before, the body cams that are required, we're getting to see this real time almost, man, within minutes and seconds of it happening. But we're able to see it.
What amazes me is like you have the George Floyd trial going on.
Yeah.
Right. You have 2 killings by police.
Yeah, you have the Kim Potter. You have the Kim Potter killing with the mistaken taser.
Dante Wright, right? The shooting of Dante Wright?
Yeah, the Dante Wright, exactly. And we have the young man, the 13-year-old Chicago, Adam Toledo, who apparently was running from police, stopped, put his hands up, and he still was shot. That just happened in Chicago.
13 years old, man.
13 years old, man. That just happened in Chicago. That's something difficult to swallow, and this is only black boys. These are brown people. These are our own people as well, that are happening. Then we saw this military drill sergeant harassing this young black
Jonathan Penceland.
Jonathan Pentland. Yeah, exactly. Basically harassing and humiliating a poor young man walking down the neighborhood, stating you're in the wrong neighborhood.
Just for walking around the neighborhood, man.
Just for walking around the neighborhood, he pushed him. He threatened him with violence. Verbally abused the kid. Like you stated when we were talking about our pre-show meeting. The kid actually showed a lot of restraint.
Listen, I gave that kid a lot of credit, man, for the restraint that he had, because first of all, Jonathan Pentland actually put his hands on him. We all saw that he pushed him. Right there, he's in the room. Mm-hmm. Besides all the the vulgar remarks, listen, that is not your job to put your hands on nobody. Yeah, just because you served in this country does not give you the right to put your hands on anybody, especially not because you think he's in the wrong area for the color of his skin. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that we're still dealing with this after so many years, man. And I give that kid a lot of credit, man, for, restraining himself from not acting out and lashing out, and realizing that, at the end of the day, I'm right. And, justice will be prevailed.
This is remember, I don't know if you remember, we touched on a point a few shows ago about what exactly do you teach your children? Do you teach your children that, this is injustice and is wrong, I'm going to fight back? Or do you teach your children, show restraint, keep calm, let it play out. You might get hurt, you might get hit, but you'll have a better chance of possibly not getting shot or, killed by police or by somebody else who's reacting to your reaction to them.
The first thing is they're reacting, and the first thing is, it was self-defense. Exactly. I was in fear for my life.
Now I must say that in light of what's been going on, we are seeing a much faster reaction from police towards these people. For example, Kim Powder got arrested. She's actually being charged with second-degree manslaughter. Mm-hmm. The military, Pentland, he's actually being charged with harassment, with like third-degree,
assault.
Harassment.
Actually, I think it was assault.
Right, yeah. Assault. So it's important that the public sees a quick reaction from police. But what we're afraid of is what's going to happen. Are they just doing this to show face? Are they just doing this to say, "Oh, look, we reacted to this situation"? But are they really going to get charged? Are they really going to
what changes are we going to see going forward that will stop? Or, and we'll stop this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not only that, but we're still waiting for the outcome of the Derek Chauvin trial, the George Floyd murder trial. Yep. So, after that happens, I think people are going to start really looking into what's going on after these people are getting arrested. Are they going through trial? Is it a fair trial? So it's something that we definitely have to keep an eye on, man. But it's a sad situation, man. This is happening everywhere.
And for those that just think, it is everywhere. It's from the Adam Toledo being shot was in Chicago to Dante Wright, which is in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter where you at, where you're from. It's everywhere. Yeah. And a lot of people turn a blind eye to it, and I think a lot of people feel as like, if it doesn't affect me, then I don't have to worry about it.
No,
these are things that we need to worry about, because it may not affect us directly, but it affects our loved ones and our family and friends all around us.
It's like I heard somebody say on social media, it's not enough for you to say, "Hey, I have black friends also," because if you're not paying attention, or if you're not doing anything, then you're just using them as a prop. You're not respecting the fact that they're your black friends.
Exactly. You're turning you're giving it, turning a blind eye to it.
Turning a blind eye to the situation, absolutely. But definitely something has to change.
Yeah, man. And it definitely has to change, because from which we're going to touch up on a little bit when we come back, man.
Absolutely.
We do have this leaking into the sports field. Mm-hmm. Me and you, we touched up on our pre-show meeting, man. Justin Fields' draft stock has dropped drastically due to, not because of his skill set, not because of, how he performed in college,
right,
but because of possibly, his race. And it's crazy that this is what that comes down to, where, a man is not, is going to be looked differently.
Right.
Even though his performance, he's excelling better than, 75% of the people out there in the draft.
Right.
His draft stock is dropping drastically. But we'll touch up on that when we come back, man. We're going to take a short commercial break, man. And we'll keep on coming back with you. with the Sala Takeover. How about Millennium TV? Your main man Rubio. Back at it again, my brother Willie Will, man. You know, chalking it up a bit, man. Listen, man.
Sorry for the faces, bro. I was just trying to make a smile, so you come out with a smile, Pops.
Listen, man. Before we went to commercial break, man, we were talking about Justin Fields and how his drafts, stock has dropped a bit due to possible race and all that.
Right.
Which is very touchy subject, but you did say that you did mention that he had a second pro day, and things have been turning around for him.
So on Wednesday, actually, which was 2 days ago from today, on Wednesday he actually had a second pro day, which was attended by the Jets and the 49ers and the Patriots. So it seems that after that pro day, whatever they saw gave him a little bit of a boost in his draft stock, where he might be coming out in the draft. He was as of last week, they had him at number 10. Some of the draft mocks that some of these guys that put these.
So is it? So it's Trevor Lawrence and then him at number 2?
That's how it was. That's how it began. Like when we were talking about this towards the beginning of the whole draft situation and towards the end of the year and after college football, I mean, remember Justin Fields took them to the championship game, right before they lost to Alabama. But basically, he was like the number 2 prospect or the number 2 draft prospect for this year's draft. Now, all of a sudden, and again, if you guys, there's a report. So there's a report on the Ringer about why Justin Fields' draft stock might have fallen. And the report digs a little bit into the race card and how white quarterbacks that are coming out of college don't lose ground the same way that black quarterbacks, with the numbers, with the accolades, with the having played well, that their stock drops more than a white quarterback. It's an interesting article. I recommend anybody to read it, because it really digs into, the numbers and why this is happening and how many, why this is an issue in the NFL currently.
No, I mean, listen, there's always going to be that issue, I think, man. And that's the thing. We have to take the race out of it and, give these guys credit for how they perform on the field, man. As long as racial tension is always there, man, it's always going to get leak over into sports, regardless of
exactly. So I just recommend you go read the article, and it'll give you a good explanation of what we mean. I mean, in recent NBA news as well, LaMarcus Aldridge retired after his April 10th. Well, his last game was April 10th with the Nets, where he played against the Lakers.
He just signed with the Nets, too, not long ago. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, apparently he's had a heart issue for a while. And while he was playing the game, he felt a discomfort. And what happened, he was actually having an irregular heartbeat. So after the game, he went to the doctors. He explained to them what he was feeling. And the doctors determined that it was probably best if he.
See, but that's my thing. He's been dealing with this for a couple of years. If I'm not mistaken.
But now he's 35. Now he's gone through,
He's that old? He's that old?
He's 35 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
Now he's gone through, all the rigors of several 14, 13 years, whatever it is, of NBA seasons. And I think it's caught up to him. These guys, they have to keep a certain diet, exercise. So the heart might be, just getting a little strained or stressed right now from all of that work. Plus, he's not that young.
Yeah. I mean, listen, well, that's a big blow for the Nets, who relied on him because they needed another big man down low. I think we were talking about it earlier. The Nets actually just lost to the Sixers, so they lost their number 1 spot in the East standings.
Yeah, so they're currently at number 2.
I mean, the Knicks are bringing the heat. They're still balling hard. I mean, they're trying to make that playoff push and playing the play-in tourney they're trying to make the run for?
At least a play-in tournament.
Yes,
I mean, but to be honest with you, with the way that they're playing and depending on how their schedule goes, who knows? They might they have a game coming up against the Mavericks now. I think today, if I'm not mistaken.
Who have been playing better? The Mavericks have been playing
absolutely.
better.
I mean, even getting Porzingis back, you might say he doesn't stay healthy, but when he is on the court, they are a tough. And then
Porzingis Smith.
Yeah, and then they actually they're a good team. They're a good team when they have their full squad together. But one thing that bothers me, and I'll touch on this later on, which I don't like the way it sits with me, is how when they rest like NBA players, like in that game against the Sixers, they basically rested Durant. Why are you resting Durant against the Sixers, man?
My thing is this. I don't know if they're resting Durant because of, they're worrying about his hamstring, or if it's just something else. At the
I
end of
get
the,
it.
at the
I
end
get
of
it.
the day,
But wait. But he played against the Minnesota Timberwolves the game before.
yeah, but Kyrie did it.
All right. So, but I'd rather see Durant in the game against the Sixers than the Timberwolves.
And I think that's the issue that a lot of people say. What was going to happen when all these guys are back together? Are they going to be able to mesh well?
Of course they are. Of course they are. That's the thing. They're doing this because they know they're going to be able to do it.
Well, you know what?
Remember, these guys are consummate professionals. Kyrie already said, "I'm not handling the ball." James Harden has become like the illest ball handler. He's playing some defense. And he doesn't need to shoot. 35.
Well, you know who hasn't been meshing well? Listen, the Yankees. The Yankees apparently can't get no big hit coming through. I mean, the Yankees just lost 2 out of 3 to Toronto. They got 3 upcoming against Tampa Bay, which are very important games because they're divisional games, man. So you need to step it up and turn it around, bro.
And all we can do is hope that the bats come alive soon. I don't think the Yankees are going to stay this way. But anyway, your Mets are 5-3. They won a doubleheader on Tuesday against the Phillies, and then they won the game the day after. So they're doing pretty decent.
It bothers me. It feels like anytime the Mets get something going, they get hit with something, man. It's like
but you can't stop the rain, brother. What are you gonna?
No, because it's like they were supposed to do opening day, and all of a sudden it's COVID. Now they get the bats were sleeping. Now the bats are coming alive. Oh, now it's a rain delay. It's like it feels like it's always something.
I know. So to you Met fans, a worldwide pandemic and bad weather is like something happening to the Mets. Why does this happen to the Mets?
Just the Mets is just happening.
Just the Mets. Nobody else has problems with the weather and COVID. Just the Mets.
Well, listen, for New York sports at all, man, all we can do is hope that the Nets get it together. You know what I'm saying? Hope that the Knicks continue rocking forward. I think it's still like we said, I think it's still too soon to tell between the Yankees and the Mets. Yeah. We'll see as the season continues to go along. I'd say you can tell, give or take, where the team is at right before the All-Star break, which is usually where it sits at. I think both teams have good potential. I mean, a lot of people have said good things about the Mets. Me being a diehard Mets fan, I'm always skeptical of it because injury is always a big thing.
I think they'll get it going. They're the Mets and the Yankees. The Mets have an incredible lineup. The Yankees do also. I think it's just a matter of getting their legs under them and kicking it off. Once the bats come alive and they start seeing those hits coming in, I think they're going to be fine.
Well, listen, with that being said, we're going to wrap things up, man. It's a pleasure, like always, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for watching us on M24 News, especially with Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV. And don't forget to download us on your Androids and iPhones, man. Willie Will, my man, it's been a pleasure.
Brother, like always.
Until next time, you already know, man.
Out of here.
Peace.